Ooh, laser. Next, so I think I just did them in the wrong order, but this right is a little different. So, there we go. Sometimes we don't know what's actually bugging us, or we don't know why it matters. And so, an important exercise to give yourself is to sit down and say, I feel blank because. And you sit down, give yourself 5 to 10 minutes, and start figuring out what it is that's going around you. Our brain is both a beautiful thing and sort of a frustrating thing, because everything is connected in your brain. Everything's connected in your brain. So me on a coach call as a 28-year-old is all of a sudden bringing up me as a 12-year-old on a stage, and I have no idea how they go together. And so you have to sit down and take the time to figure out how they connect. What emotions are bringing up memories? What memories are bringing up emotions that are scaring you? And by sitting down and actually saying, I feel blank, ... or I think is very important. Giving yourself space to actually go, what is going on inside my head? Like, what am I actually thinking right now? Because if I'm thinking, oh no, I have to get away, this is scary, then I need to create in my brain the things that are going to help me get unscared. And this third, so visualize is to help you get through panic. It's to help get you through that initial freak out, and then you can start singing the song because you freaked out. So you freak out, then you visualize and figure out, why does this thing feel so big, and bring it down to size. Then write it out. Maybe you've made your problem smaller, but you still don't know what to do with it. So for me, 100 subscribers on YouTube. What am I supposed to do with it? Well, sit down and actually ask. Figure out why you want to do it. I was reading a fantastic book last night. It's called The Jackrabbit Factor. And the kind of point of it, he shares two things. One is what I already shared. We look at other people and go, well, I'm doing everything they're doing and it's not working for me. It's because they have different stuff they've got to let go of and work through and face than I do. So what I need to do to get where we both want to go is going to be different. The second thing that he shares is our intuition and inspiration are amazing. But we're not going to get that intuition or receive that inspiration if we don't actually know where we want to go. So if you actually have to sit out and you have to plan, what does it look like for me to have 100 subscribers? And you sit it and you get it on paper. So what does it look like if I have 100 subscribers? Well, it looks like I've got 100 people who are getting notifications every Tuesday and Thursday when I load up my videos. So that's 100 people who go, oh, she has another video. So they run to their computer or they pull out their phone and they watch my video. And they're so excited about my video that they tell their friend. And then their friend goes, well, that sounded kind of weird, but kind of cool. Can I watch? So then they share the link with them. And then that person's really excited and then they share. So what do your goals that you just wrote down actually look like? And I want you guys to take a minute or two and actually describe them. Not just, I want, well, I'm already on game. I want new shoes. Okay, so that's my goal. I want new shoes. So I write that on paper. What does me having new shoes look like? Me having new shoes means that my arches don't hurt because I have appropriate arch support. It means I can walk long distances because I got great shoes. It means I'm really fantastic, I feel fantastic because they're really cute. Write out actually what it is that your goal looks like. And Natalie, the shoes was for you from last month, just so you know. But so take a few minutes, and I want you to actually describe to yourself, and if you need more paper, there's some on the back table, and describe what it is that what your dream looks like. Okay, how are our goals looking? They're coming along. Well, as long as if a random person asks you on the street what it is you're hoping for, if you can give them a 5-sentence answer, you're in great shape. Because most people just go, I want my life to be different. They don't necessarily know how they want it to be different. So the more we can describe things, the more that our brain is excited about it. Because when you write things down, it shows your brain that it's important. And once you've showed your brain that it's important and you think about it often, then your brain's like, maybe we should actually put some effort into making this work and going places. And then your next step is so you visualized it so you're not as panicked. Then you've written it out to figure out why it's even stirring you up. And the third one is that you remember to reprogram. So you're not remembering to reprogram, but you are remembering things that are coming up. So for me, 6th grade talent show, I had to think through all of those things of why it was actually there. I had to understand what I was afraid of. I was afraid of being vulnerable. I was afraid of having what I shared not make a difference. And so once I realized that was a group of 6th and 7th graders. They're mean, they're brutal. Of course it didn't make a difference there. That wasn't the right venue, it wasn't the right way. And so as I talked through and realized why I didn't work, I was then able to embrace that maybe if I tried it again in the right way and in the right venue, it would work. So I've been working with this group of coaches now for a week. And last night we all kind of jumped on and we're sharing some things. And I learned that being vulnerable is a give and take. Because not only do I need to be willing to open my mouth and say whatever comes to mind appropriately, but it's also when other people do the same thing, I need to give them space to be vulnerable and connect back. And as a 6th grader, I had no clue that that's how vulnerability and connection worked. Me standing on stage telling them stuff only made them feel uncomfortable. Whereas if I had found 2 or 3 people one-on-one and shared with them what I was thinking, it probably would have gone way better. So for me, being in a space that was safe, where they could share and I would support them in their sharing, then I could share and they could support me in sharing, and then I didn't feel so awkward. And so I shared about, they were sharing about their kids. 2 of the people in my group have children with special needs. And so they were sharing what was going on with them. And then I realized, wait, I want to do a class for caregivers of people with special needs. I now have it in with the community and I have people to talk to and bounce ideas off of. Would I have gotten that if we had not created that safe, vulnerable space? No. But as we choose to be vulnerable, as we choose to share, as we choose to connect, we then create connections that help us get closer to our goal. And this all started because I was willing to look back, to remember and figure out what this program was telling me of why something wouldn't work, so that I could rework it and make it go better. So take 30 seconds and I want you to just star one thing on your list of what's keeping you from your goal and see if there's a memory attached. See if there's a program going on that keeps popping up and telling you that this thing can't happen. Because as you look at your list, your brain is going to tell you, remember when you were 5? Remember when you were 20? Remember when this thing happened? And then you can kind of dive into that later today or tomorrow and kind of figure out, what can I tell myself instead? How can I change this around so that I can see a different result? Because a lot of times we just go off on autopilot. We just do what we've always done and we react the way we've always reacted. So by actually realizing why we respond or react, we can start learning to respond in new ways. And so that leads us to the next one.
Before we move on,
yes.
I just think it's really interesting to actually write down that chain of, or purposes, the reprogramming part, oh, well, I can do this, oh, I can do this, I can do this. And I'm finding in my own mind that there's just not one, but there's several things that are connected to that one overall, oh, that's why I'm not feeling like I'm accomplishing that, because there's this and this and this and this. But to actually go down and write down, oh, well, I can do this, I can do this. It's like breaking it down and simplifying our lives to reach the big goal.
I love that you just brought that up. Essentially what you just explained is how action steps work. Because we look at something big and we go, that's never going to happen. But when you break it down and go, this is why I feel the way that I do, this is what I can do about it, you then make a journey that feels really big. All you have to do is get to there. all you have to do is get to there. And you start making, and you celebrate each new place you get to, because ultimately you're going to get over there. Something else, another thought that I just had was, what if it's not a wall? What if it's a chasm? Because our brain does two things. It either creates hills in our brain, or it creates crevices or chasms in our brain.
What's the difference?
I will explain. So in my mind, for me, this is how I define this. Mountains are things that perhaps give us prideful feelings, or that lifts us higher than perhaps humility would be wise. And so our brain is always collecting stuff that is either going to make us feel better about ourselves or make us feel worse about ourselves. In every life experience we have, our brain is either going, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Now, mountains are not inherently bad, because we all need things that help us feel good about ourselves. That's why we say declarations, that I'll explain in a minute. That's why we build ourselves up, because another way to get over that wall is by building a mountain of positive good things. If you create a foundation of your mountain in light and love and charity, build yourself up. Because then that helps you be equal to that wall. So instead of this huge 20-foot wall you can't get past, you've now built yourself up that you can see over the top of it. But you have to build it in the right way. Because our brain are looking for these things, and generally this happens in comparison. For me, my wall is comparison. Like, that is what comes up. Because I'm always afraid I'm falling short, and so then I'm always comparing myself to someone else and trying to find something so they lose and I win, so I feel better about myself. Why can't we just both win? Like, what is wrong with just both people winning? So let's say second grade. Love my second grade story. Walking down to the library, told everybody they didn't need to bring their pencils. So then everybody looks at me and goes, well, it's her fault. And I learned, don't say anything. So this is my little rock down here as a second grader. Don't say anything. Then sixth grade happens. Don't say anything, it'll be awkward. And then, so then for the rest of my life, my brain is looking for other memories and experiences to fill up this proof that I'm bad or that I shouldn't share. And so every life experience comes and happens. Or I had, what's another? We'll go for this one. Getting the Hope of America Award in 5th grade. That made me feel really good. It's still a memory that makes me smile. And so then, my life, I have a choice. Either I'm looking for rocks to chuck in my crevice of, oh, I'm so bad at this. Or I have rocks that I can put up here and go, you know, I did okay. You know, that went pretty well. Not in comparison to anybody else. You say, I did good today. I helped someone today. And then you shut your brain off. Don't say, and this other person didn't. Don't say, oh, but I could have done better. Start taking comparison out of your life. If you really want to get over your walls, if you want to build a ladder to get over them, if you want to get through them, you've got to kick comparison out. Because comparison always means you either win or you lose. Whereas if you can just speak in period, end of sentences, I am so glad I was able to help that person, period. I am so grateful for my awesome car, period. I look great today, period. Then all you are doing is helping yourself have more confidence, present yourself better, so that people feel they can connect with you more, you connect with them, and you have more friends, you make more connections.